Jocelyn Owens, and let's get started on my action research project. Some things about me are that I am an elementary PE teacher at Skelly Elementary in El Dorado, Kansas, and the class that I'm focusing primarily on is my morning fourth grade PE. And my problem is that students in this fourth grade class that I see 3 times a week are behind in their motor development. Most are struggling to run, throw, or skip with proper form, which inhibits a good class game, as well as leaves my students who are not behind stagnant. This not only concerns me about the physical cognition of these students, but I don't want to negatively affect the students who are on par or advanced for their age. So my question here is, why are most of my students behind in their motor skills? So for data collection, with this I focused primarily on locomotor movements. So I had students perform all 7 of them, and the one that was the worst was skipping, and the one that was the best was hopping. So I decided not to work on hopping at all, but I wanted to see if anyone would get better or worse or completely stay the same over the course of the next 4 weeks. And with skipping, I created a 5-minute warm-up each day of the class that students did for 4 weeks. And so for my intervention, we did the initial data collection 4 times over the course of 2 weeks so that I could get a good baseline of data. From that, I was able to see that 6 out of 22 of my students were proficient in skipping, which is only 27%, but 19 out of 22 of my students were proficient in hopping. And this is when I implemented the warm-up routine. And so we did a different warm-up routine each day, and here is what it consisted of. So we did a warm-up activity 1. I would see them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So warm-up on the Monday, we would focus on teaching the basic step hop rhythms that skipping requires. On Wednesday, we would focus on proper arm and leg coordination. And on Fridays, we would focus on building skipping skills without the challenge of forward movement. And we spent maybe 3 to 5 minutes on this each day. This was kind of their instant activity. We went over it the first week, and I would still do it with them every single day. But this was something that they came in and they got into their pairs and in their groups, and they knew what to do. And a lot of this was just for day 1, we emphasized timing and balance. Day 2, we're highlighting the arms and legs and the coordination. And for day 3, we're highlighting the proper height in the hop and the smooth transitions. And so from this, we were able to see that before intervention, we only had our 27% that were doing well. And after the intervention and my last day of testing, 14 out of my 22 students, which means 64% of my students, had proficient skipping abilities. And notice for my hopping, that stayed the exact same the entire time. And so here is a bar chart of it. And so once again, you can see with skipping proficiency raised a ton by focusing on doing a different warm-up and focusing on our skipping abilities. And really just breaking down the skipping, and there's a lot less strugglers. And obviously we're going to have our strugglers. We don't have students come to class every day. We don't have students that are engaged, and there are just some students that need more time than the 4 weeks. And the hopping proficiency stayed the same the entire time. And so here is another graph of just how the hopping stayed the same and how my skipping increasingly got better over the 4 weeks. So from this, I think that the data means that the students just need the time and practice with each locomotor movements. If we spend time on each locomotor movement, they will excel. And from this, I really think that they are locomotor movements, and running is one of them. We have all of these movements that we do that once we're adults, we're just like, oh, we just know how to do that. But we need to be able to learn how to do it proficiently. And spending the time on a locomotor movement not only goes hand in hand with our physical abilities and cognition, but also our cognitive skills, and it relates back to the classroom teaching. And so my next steps are that I'm going to continue to implement 3 warm-ups each week, but I want to rotate my warm-ups weekly. So 1 week we'll focus on skipping, 1 week we'll focus on hopping, and then we'll go to leaping and jumping, and just throughout the semester rotate that. And as well as moving on to focusing on all motor development. So for example, if it is a softball or baseball unit, we're going to focus on the cues and the skills that go behind throwing a softball or throwing a ball. and the mechanics that go behind that. Same with soccer. We'll go over how we dribble, and really breaking down how we kick. And so it can correlate into the game related instant activity, or I can spend more time with these warm-ups like I would in a usual lesson. But these are just some next steps that I want to take. And doing this research project has helped me learn that these students really just need the time, and they need someone that's going to have the patience with them to work with them. But thank you.